Greetings everybody, welcome to DeGrand, the Granddaddy plays bullets per minute. Now this is actually me doing some honest to god commentary over a pre-recorded gameplay video of myself. And the reason for that is, this game is hard to play while also doing commentary. It is just absolutely insane because it is so hard to keep up with the rhythm and you also focus on doing basically anything else. You need to be so focused, you need to be in the moment in order to actually accomplish anything. So, for today we're gonna try and do it like this. We're playing as Skuld. She's the character that has been introduced in this update, and probably my favorite among the whole new cast. Her gimmick is that her HP drains slowly but steadily, but she has basically built-in lifesteal. Every time she attacks an enemy and or kills an enemy, she gets back some HP. And that is actually the reason why I really wanted to play as her in this difficulty, because the enemies, they deal a whole lot of damage. I was just looking for the last enemy there. I was so sure there was still a bat somewhere in that angle, but I already killed it at that point, which was hilarious. But yeah, she has built-in lifesteal, enemies deal a lot of damage, and I figured that her kit, the way she presents herself, is gonna be the best way to deal with the overall situation. And I also just really like her starting weapon. That's probably one of my favorite weapons in the game, just for how simple it is. You get 3 long distance shots, but you only need to do 1 input for a quick reload. It's just very nice, fun, easy and convenient. So, we found as our first item in here the Mind Flaying helmet, and usually it's not an item I'm particularly excited over, but it actually ended up doing a lot of work here for us in the early game. What it does is it creates that zone around me. You can actually see the waves under my feet, and enemies in that zone actually get damaged. You can see there's a lot of very small enemies in here that do not have all that much HP, and against them, especially against the ones that try to rush me down, that extra damage was actually very useful early on, and it ended up being surprisingly helpful just for that. Now, I made the decision going into this shop in here, and it was a good one because we got some honest to god straight HP increases in here, and that pure goodness is going to be huge as well because temporarily it gives us another HP upgrade, basically doubling, well not doubling, it increases our HP by 25%, but more importantly it gives us the opportunity to increase all of our stats on a room-to-room basis, which is hopefully going to work nicely for us. On the other hand, that was a wasted key. That ability sadly didn't really do all that much for us. The ability to take out money from the bank is amazing for another new character that has been introduced, which is sadly not the one we are playing right now. Otherwise that could have been a 1-1 just then and there. But maybe for another time. Going against Draugr in here, and we are actually very lucky that he is a somewhat regular version of himself. Sometimes I have walked into this place and it was like, here's a lethal, vengeful, cloned Draugr. So you have to fight 2 of them that are both supercharged, and that always leads to all sorts of disaster. It was not a nice scene to behold. We used the key we just got from the boss and keep walking out. It was a very good first floor. HP is looking a little bit low in here, but we will regain most of that as we make the stage transition in here. And between the stat increases we received as well as the items we received, we are in a pretty great situation to be in. This is looking like it's going good. As you can see, HP regeneration works like a charm. We actually picked up an item that increases our HP regeneration, which is always stellar to get on this girl. Skuld, easily my favorite character in the game right now, just for how she basically encompasses almost everything I like to do. And we're gonna really put her to work in here today. It looks like our HP is in a somewhat dire spot, but don't worry, that will all come to pass over time. That was a bit of a tough break there, being so close to both shops and not having money to do it. I was actually feeling a little bit distraught at that moment because I was like, damn, I would have liked to just buy anything in there, but not having the money, and because of the nature of this character, not being able to go back there into these shops. It was not a very nice prospect, but I stomached it. Took some detours that were unnecessary. And something in a chest that I cannot even open because I got no keys. Can't be helped, but maybe we come back to that later. And you saw that small spider just dying as it was stepping close to me. That is the power of Mindflayer. It is just very, very nice, especially on these early floors. And it was doing a lot for us. Another damage upgrade. Of course, always amazing to see these early on for so cheap. Makes me feel a little bit less bitter about not being able to go for the weapon shop that we have seen earlier. There comes another chest with a weapon. And would you look at that, it is a gauss cannon. As you have seen, there's a lot of small enemies in here, so I quickly make the judgment call to leave that gauss cannon behind. It is... I don't think that Hellish mode is particularly well designed for that kind of weaponry. It is too heavy for its own good. Open up the chest, just another coin in there. We're gonna see a lot of those in the future. And we will actually eventually make a switch on our weaponry. There's another weapon damage upgrade, which is always amazing. We'll get another weapon later down the line. And that weapon that we will then get will actually be the one that we will take away into the remainder of the game. It is a very, very good weapon, you have seen it before. And I think it is one of those weapons that almost always gives you a good run when you get it. So be excited for that one. As we walk into the Ymir boss fight, is what I wanted to say, but then I noticed, you know what? I have full HP, I have a decent amount of money, and against bosses you usually have a fairly decent time of replenishing your HP. So now, let me walk into the shop really, really quick and see if there's anything good. We have enough money, so even if we don't see anything in here, we can just go back and leave it behind. The explosive shots that were offered there, I was actually thinking taking them up, but then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it, because Mindflayer has been great for us thus far. I put a coin there for the precision up, and cursed myself internally as I did that, because I actually wanted to spend all of my 10 coins in that weapon shop. But hey, you win some, you lose some. We still got a clip up there, and that is gonna be nice later down the line as well. We're gonna see a lot of those today, and I would really like to believe that they did a big difference in here for us. Just a champion Ymir. Again, this is good, because it could be much, much worse than that. Looking at it, our damage looks pretty nice as well. HP, not so much. Not so much at all, but you also see that it's slowly but steadily coming all back to us. And there falls Ymir. Usually I like to take my time with the fanfares on these guys, but because of this character we're on the clock, I sadly can't. But I was very happy that we could use the key he dropped to get some cleaving in there. You have seen how many enemies are just piling together, so that little bit of cleaving is going to help us be a bit more efficient about our room clear, and that made me pretty happy. Now, next floor, Vanaheim. I was pretty happy immediately to have that extra bit of damage, and of course, the moment we have the opportunity to use it, the enemies are actually smart to spread out enough so we can't really get all that much out of it. Made me feel a little bit salty in that moment, but don't you worry, that cleaving effect is actually not here to stay. We will see a good replacement for that sooner rather than later. And speaking of replacements, there is our weapon for the run. The good old trusty grenade launcher. I think I said it before, you see how crowded these rooms are with all sorts of big and small enemies. So the grenade launcher giving me a lot of easy to use AoE damage was absolutely splendid in this scenario. I can't stress how happy I was to see it. And I was so happy to also get yet another damage increase. Those have been coming at us at a very good pace, and I loved it. But don't you worry guys, the run is still not quite done. There are gonna be some crazy things happening in here. We will see some pretty nifty items later down the line. And maybe we'll even make some friends as well. That guy over there, the machine guys, they're always a little bit troublesome to take out because they like to just hunker down into their shells. Which is always annoying because then you have to wait, and waiting as this character always gives you pause. But hey, it just happens. My chest spawning has not been that great for us because we just ended up spawning a lot of chests that we can't even open up for a lack of keys. It happens, it's a sad reality to be in, but hey, worse things has happened, and it's better than not seeing those chests in the first place. Took a quick look around for some shrines before we go fight the mini-boss. We just threw all the grenades in his face. And I think it was at this point in the run that I felt like mentioning how good the extra jump is that we got a little bit early into the run. That extra mobility actually was super helpful, and I was very happy to have it. Now, our stat increases also just keep coming thanks to the pure goodness, and at that point in the run, I was like, you know what, we're gonna keep it around a little bit longer. And at that point, my right hand just passed out a little bit, which is why I fell down that cliff there. I felt like, ooh man, you can't show that to anyone. But I just did, and he even commented on it, so there you go. You can just tell how easy it is to take out these small flies now that we have that extra bit of AoE damage. It is an honest to god blessing, and I love it. I just love to see it. I love to play it too, but seeing it is just on a whole other level. That was a pretty interesting space to be in. A lot of potential there if we would have more keys, which we sadly don't. And the item we would have gotten there from that gambling room, sadly also not quite as interesting. Even if we wouldn't have pure goodness, piercing is just not that good, and it doesn't even work with the grenade launcher. But that's fine, there's another damage upgrade waiting for us, and we're actually very close to capping off the stat, which makes me consider replacing the pure goodness later down the line. But first of all, the Battle Lion. Easily one of the, if not the best item in the game. Double cooldown is so powerful in this game. It just makes everything you do better. So much better. There is max out damage stat. We're gonna leave pure goodness behind in a moment, so that will change. But of course, not for long. So double cooldowns, why is that item so great? All of your abilities, both the regular ones as well as the ultimate ones, will charge faster. You see that I'm just basically almost able to spawn chests now whenever I feel like it. I will not be able to open them because I ain't got no keys, but hey. That is something that we will also not have to trouble ourselves with all that much. And I mean, at this point, you just need to get a great ultimate ability and or a regular cast. And then the game is busted right open. But even if you don't, it also halves the time it takes for you to shoot or to reload your weapon. So especially a slow weapon like this grenade launcher. You see how fast I do the reloads now compared to before, and how I just keep battering poor old vet over here with grenades until he was just done. Grinded into dust. There's another clip upgrade. I told you we would see a few more of those. And this key I'm gonna use immediately to go into that ability room over here, hoping that we will see something amazing. And would you look at that? We can now summon a friend. And again, because of the shortened cooldowns, we are basically able to do it almost every room now. So not only do we have a super fast and supercharged grenade launcher, no, we also have the ability to just summon a Valkyrie to do all the dirty work for ourselves. We also have decent levels of HP. And our damage stat is, at least for the moment, maxed out. And you just love to see it. Now we could summon our Valkyrie for the first time, but I am already almost done with this room, so I wanted to save it for the next run. There's only one fly left somewhere. I had to look for it. There it is. And it is over with you. There was a combat room. I was actually contemplating going in there and doing it, but I decided not to, because I was not quite feeling at that point. So I left it behind. Summon my Valkyrie friend. Look at the ultimate timer. We're killing so many enemies together, the ultimate timer just keeps increasing like crazy. At times I probably could have summoned 2 Valkyries in each room, but there's no point of being overly excessive. Money is looking good, so there we go, getting more damage. I didn't even need the damage upgrade, I didn't notice that when I did that. But the clip-ups again, gonna be good. The less time you spend reloading, the more time you spend dealing damage, is my hot take on that matter. The Guardian over there with the shield got me once, but as you see, the lifesteal, thanks to all the damage we have, it is just so good that we can easily catch up with all of that. The last fly got killed by our Valkyrie friend. Shield regeneration, double damage. I was actually considering it for a little while. But at that point I was like, no, 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 no. That extra cooldown reduction is just way too good to pass up on. In general, when it comes to games, I am the kind of player who really likes being able to push his exciting abilities as often as possible. In this case, it was me summoning my Valkyrie friend, but also me using my grenade launcher. And even if I would have the ability to just deal twice as much damage, I would just rather be able to fire twice as fast, because that is much more enjoyable over to me. And I mean, you see how it works out. You can also see how we use that extra mobility offered to us by those boots we have. Now, here I make the decision to actually buy that shot slow. Basically, I shoot enemies there slower than. I mostly bought that because I wanted to get rid of the pure goodness at that point, because it already served its purpose. Our damage stat is almost maxed out, which is mostly what I'm on the lookout for. And eventually I would have replaced it with something. But now we just reopened the ceiling of our damage. So in case we see some kind of damage shrine somewhere, we can use it. Now here's where something funny happened. There's a room type that I have never seen until this very run, this bubble room over here. And I was like, okay, I have no idea what this is. I tried to approach it, wanted to see if there's some kind of button input. And what happened is it put me back again into the third biome. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. Didn't know this was a thing, but sure, I take it. There were 4 bubbles, and I'm actually not sure where all of them would have led me. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that room again at some point in the future, so then we will be a bit more careful and take a little more time in seeing what kind of options those portals have. Maybe you can actually use them as some kind of speedrunning strategy to not only get you back into the past, which is what we are doing in here. No, maybe you can even use them to get yourself into the future. Wouldn't that be nice? I know I would absolutely appreciate that. Now at this point of the run, I felt pretty powerful, so I decided to actually go and do this challenge room. Immediately summoned my Valkyrie friend and went on to all of these scorpion and flies. And as you can see, they don't stand a chance. Me and my Valkyrie friend, we're pretty powerful. And I can summon him right again. There's a guardian, you always have to be a bit careful around them. But again, our mobility right now, pretty good. And the grenade launcher is also a pretty satisfying weapon when it comes to killing them. Because of the AoE damage, you can just put a bullet behind them and the explosion is big enough to catch them in. Yeah, as you can see, those challenge rooms, they do not pose any danger to me anymore. I got hit there, but as you see, we're gonna replenish the HP we lost there in mere moments. Now, only that Snow Witch over there has to go, and she left the building. And we claim our prize as skeleton key, and just like that, all of our key issues are solved forever. At that point I was like, damn, now imagine I would have kept around our chest spawning, huh? Wouldn't that have been fun? But then I was like, you know what, no, I don't think those chests could have given us anything remotely as exciting and useful as having that constant ability to summon our Valkyrie friend and to help us with all of these hordes we have to wrestle down. I was actually contemplating if there would have been other items I would have rather have than that Valkyrie friend. And there are a few where I think they could have been useful. But, you know, I was not lingering too much on that thought because I had what I had, I liked what I had, and there was not a high likelihood of us getting anything else instead anytime soon. So just appreciate it. Just appreciate what you have as you make an absolute mockery out of your enemies. Took a look around there to find any sort of shrine, which I did. And there's another mini-boss. We have been here before. We have defeated him once already. We were not as powerful then as we are now. But hey, I took it as I went. I was very excited to see that revealing the map item, because I was like, okay, I'm very powerful right now. I can just go and make a straight beeline for the bosses on every floor now and maybe just quote-unquote speedrun the last remaining bits of the run. And I was very excited about that because, you know, especially when it comes to Helheim, you want to be out of there as fast as possible. There's a free ability up. It was basically for free because we have all the keys. And we also have a key to open up that chest right over there, which we of course do. Finding Loki's bargain. Another good item, basically a less good pure goodness. But we already left pure goodness behind, so we have no reason to settle with that one. I was also very happy with the one weapon we already had, so no point in even contemplating about wanting to have a second one. Especially not if it means leaving behind the mapping that I was just falling over. I don't know when exactly it happened, but I felt like at some point money just stopped being a concern for us, so I took the small detour and went for the shop here purposely. Threw some money into that thing, getting another clip upgrade, which made me very happy. Again, the less time you spend reloading, the more time you spend eradicating your enemy. And here I have a silly moment just looking around to find a shrine, then remembering that I already played the shrine and feeling stupid about myself as I leave the place. But we got another HP upgrade to make up for the pure goodness we left behind early on, so that made it all worth our while. And yeah, that's when we leave this floor. I don't know, have we already fought the boss in here? We have not. I mean, we have before, but now we have to do it a second time. Poor vet can't catch a break today. It's kind of funny. But overall, I'm very, very happy about that accident that happened, because as we replayed this floor, and as we are going to replay the 4th floor again as well, we actually found some great means of improving our run. I'm also going to go into this ability room one more time to see if there's anything interesting, and discount shop items when we are stacked in cash doesn't really excite me all that much. This time it's a crazed champion vet, but it is a foregone conclusion. My man vet is sadly not going to carry the raid today. He got a little bit of damage in there with his shockwave. Just look at our HP. See how much I cared about that bit of damage I was taking there. He got another hit in, a solid 50, but the lifesteal is gonna be strong. And just the defeat over there brought me back to full. Pick up a Valkyrie speed upgrade, and we go onwards to Vanaheim 2. With 40 coins, starting out with a shop immediately made me very, very happy. And we found another HP upgrade, which is always great. And I was looking at these items and was like, okay, those don't do anything for me, for the most part. Thank you kindly, but also no thank you kindly. And immediately making use of the map, I saw the boss and wanted to go through with my initial plan of just rushing to the boss immediately. But then I was like, okay, you know what? You know what? We're gonna do that. I was also wrestling with myself at that point in time because the weapon shop was not that far away. And eventually I actually make the decision of going there. Because again, we have a lot of money. Our HP situation, our HP economy is very good at the moment. So why not do it, right? Why not just go there and check out the situation? This is where I was thinking about it, exactly. And that is where I made the decision. There was also chest room, but I was not really caring all that much for that. I had infinite keys, but it would have been a little bit too much of a hassle to go there just for a chance of maybe getting a somewhat useful item. No. I was going for the weapon shop because, again, more clip-ups and more damage upgrades and maybe even a better weapon than what we already have would have been nice. There's not a lot of weaponry that I consider to be better than this from our current situation. But I wanted to give the game the chance to make our day, you know? Every now and then you have to throw your games a bone and just allow them to blow your mind. That's exactly what I was doing here. Picked up the clip up, picked up the damage up. And I was looking at the rifle because I was like, okay, you know what? It's cheap and I like it, I think. But it was not good enough to make me want to let go of our grenade launcher in here. So I decided against it and went straight back to the boss. And yeah, I think we can all agree at this point we have already crossed the line. Golvik, especially without any enforcements, is just getting blown to smithereens. She actually got a shot in there, but it is not gonna do her any good. Ah man, it's so satisfying to see just a dozen grenades flying at our enemies at that short time frame at the end there. I love to see it. I just absolutely love to see it. Now, onwards to the next floor. We're getting another gambling in here, giving me extra increased healing effects. And that actually affects all of our life stealing. And you know, I actually had to think there for a moment. It was a very short moment. Extra mapping to get through the game faster, or a little bit of extra security just by virtue of the fact that we are gonna heal ourselves much more efficiently in the future. As you can see, I made the decision for the healing. And if you keep a close eye on our HP bar, you just see how amazingly high we can keep the bar constantly. Look at that, look at that. The bar just keeps darting back to 275 all the time as we make all of our enemies weep gently. They're not exactly gently weeping, they are screeching and screaming an awful lot. But to me it all sounds very, very gentle. Like a song you play for a child in order to put it to sleep and have some nice dreams. That is exactly how it sounds like. Incredibly peaceful. Nothing makes me more happy than to see my enemies suffer in front of me. That shield hero there actually gave me a little bit of worry, because those are always a little bit weird to fight. But as you can see, the worry was not necessary. We made absolute short work out of him. This enemy was actually where I got a little bit worried, because I thought our damage would be a little bit better than that. It felt much better. But he was still pretty tanky. It took a lot of shots to take him down, which for me was an internal note I made to still be on my toes. You know, the run looks very, very strong, looks very, very good, but things have to go wrong just once. They have to go incredibly wrong just one time, and everything goes down the drain. I was not in the market for that. So even though it doesn't look always like that, I played a little bit more careful from here on out. Now you would think the run is pretty set in stone at this point, but there's actually one more very, very strong piece to the puzzle that we are going to get fairly soon. And we'll see how I actually had some trouble with this room, because for all its strengths, the grenade launcher doesn't really have amazing range to it. But we still got through the room. That was all that mattered to me. That guy immediately getting a huge shot on me also shocked me a little bit. But there it is. It was all worth it. That item allows me to just negate an attack on a constant basis. And again, because of shortened cooldowns, we get that all the time just by fighting through our hordes. That gave me an immense boost of motivation. I felt very, very strong at this point and thought that, okay, this has to be it. There's nothing these jokers can do at this point anymore. Immediately put up a shell, putting up a shell again, and that is just going to mitigate so much damage. It's gonna be so much stress off my mind. Morality has been boosted an awful lot just because of that. The boss of this map, I was like, okay, you know what, I don't think he's gonna do anything against us. And that spell we found there is not doing anything for me, so of course I left it behind as we walked in on the champion Aldis. As you can see, we're just playing a little bit of catch with him. He was throwing a rock at me, didn't catch it. I was throwing plenty grenades at him, and he caught them all with his face. He is a very, very fun playmate to have, let me tell you. And now he's gone. That didn't last long. I was actually a little bit confused here, because I was like, where's my chest? Oh, the other side of the door, I see. Another clip up. Just for consideration, the grenade launcher usually has a base clip of 6 shots, and we boosted that all the way to 14. Even if we wouldn't have the double cooldowns to just increase the speed at which we fire and reload, just having 14 shots would have been amazing. Now, at this point we are so strong, I was like, of course I'm gonna do this. Of course I'm gonna do this challenge room, and I won't even feel challenged by it, is what I'm doing. And as you can see, getting it every now and then doesn't matter. Just waited for my Valkyrie friend to be able to pop back in, and when he did, we were having ourselves a ball. Yep. Now, for the next number, just a bunch of spiders. That guy making that huge barrier appear is always a little bit painful to deal with. Here's the thing, I do not consciously remember when it is. I'm pretty sure it is when the barrier is still. That is when you can actually move through it, which is also what we did there. It is a very, very cool mechanic to have, I gotta say. I don't think a lot of games are doing that all that often. but it can easily catch you off guard, especially when there's more than that at once. Now this is a point that made me really, really sad. Masquerade basically allows you to use your ultimate on a room-to-room basis. Like the items you have on the lower left corner. At times, some of them can actually be used actively. Masquerade is one of them. And you can just go into every room and use the ultimate once, independent on its current cooldown. And you can already see how that can end up being amazingly strong. And I was actually thinking about it because I was like, okay, you know what? Just being able to use the friend in every room, guaranteed, could be remarkably strong. But then I was like, you know, the double cooldown allows me to already basically do that, while also being amazing at other things. So, not much point in replacing that. I was still looking for these spell rooms because, as amazing as our Valkyrie friend is, I was not convinced that he would be our best option forever. He was doing amazing. He was doing absolutely stunning for us. But there could have been something better, so I kept looking, and that healing ability actually made me think for a moment, but in the end I decided against it because I felt like being on the offense constantly, being a bit stronger when it comes to actually engaging all of our enemies is gonna be more impactful and important. And also a little bit more healthy for our overall survivability than just trying to increase our overall health generation even more. I think if you look at this room, if you look at the mess that me and my Valkyrie friend are making here together, you can absolutely see where I was coming from, right? Now, we were getting closer to the boss fight, my favorite boss in the game, of course. And, oh yeah, I was actually playing that because you have infinite keys, you may as well. And we got a bad ability. That ability actually makes you throw a coin at your enemies. That is a burning coin. I don't know how much damage it does, but the idea of wasting money is not exactly something I relish in. Every now and then, in some games, it can be a fun mechanic, especially if it allows you to just break some kind of damage limit. But I think we can all agree that at this point, damage was not a concern. And of course, I did not want to leave my defensive shell behind. Not for that, not at all. So yeah, this is the journey of me and my Valkyrie friend. We're getting very close. Very, very close to the boss fight. And after that, of course, comes Helheim. And Helheim always has me worried. Helheim always has me worried because that floor can just absolutely, splendidly ruin your day entirely. And I was worried about that, you know. We had a very strong run going on in here. But again, every table can turn very fast, especially on this difficulty. I was checking the shop mostly to see if there's some kind of armor in here that I could have used to convert into additional max HP with that item. Sadly, not the case. It wasn't a great deal, because with 275 HP, we were still sitting pretty for the most part. But hey, I wouldn't be me if I wouldn't try to leverage every advantage I can get, right? That's just what I do. That's how I do business. Now, there was one more shrine I picked up before the boss. Another luck upgrade. Maybe that's gonna be useful for us. And a crazed mist-elf. Just being crazed is not gonna be enough, as he's gonna find out soon. He's actually getting, I think, 1 or 2 hits in on me. There was one, but we shielded that. And there was the second one. I think there's gonna be a third one too. There it was. I remember that so well. But then he's gonna fall regardless and earn a lot of grenades right into his kisser. Poor myself. Sometimes I wish that this fight would be a little bit harder, just because I enjoy the music so much. I feel like I talk about that every time I go into that place. It is just so enjoyable to me. Did I really summon the Valkyrie just for that one fly? That was crazy of me. Why did I do that? Alright, we actually found the boss fight immediately, just 1 room in. And I was so happy about that, that I wasn't even calling bullshit on these guys being clones. Because, you know, we have great AoE damage, and you see how we are making them feel it. They're getting both amazingly huge together there. Doesn't matter. They bite the dust regardless. And I was just, again, so happy that we were just able to completely skip out on Helheim. That is some honest to god good RNG. Now, we are able to replace our boots over here. That extra jump, especially at that point again, I was like, it was amazing for us. The extra mobility it offered, it was an absolute blessing. But it served its purpose, and from now on we need more damage. We got that item, that helmet that gives us extra damage for perfect rhythm. And I think at that point, Mind Flay also outlived its usefulness a great deal. Again, it helped us hugely, immensely through the early game. But at this point, it is all about the raw damage output. And you can see, we're making a mockery out of these enemies and the bosses. And now it is all about the big bad dragon Nidhogg himself. I was actually a little bit shocked at that point, because our damage, it was not nearly as high as I was hoping it would be, especially considering all the items we're carrying around. But we were still doing pretty potent DPS, and of course we had our Valkyrie friend helping us out. A lot of those domes that you have to walk through while the dome is holding still. We took a lot of damage over the course of the run, but you also see how fast we are replenishing it back up. We are already back to full HP, even though we were down somewhat fiercely. Down is the dragon as well. He's still getting the occasional shot in. At that point I was actually scared, because I almost got knocked off the platform. But it didn't happen, and there we go. Just firing all my grenades in the sky as my Valkyrie friend is taking the killing blow from me. But I did not mind, because we just won the day. And boy am I happy for it. Skuld, Hellish difficulty, cleaned out. Now right after, I wanted to start one more run with her, just because I wanted to see if there's anything going on there with her, if there's anything we unlocked. But as I will find in a moment, that was sadly not the case. So yeah guys, that's it. It was a fun experience just commenting over my own gameplay like this. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Maybe we'll do it again for some cases later down the line.